Welcome to my YouTube channel. Here we talk all about project management, business and data analysis. My name is Paulus and today we're gonna talk when you should not use Agile. The reason you may not want to use Agile is because projects or environment is not suited for that. Everyone is talking about using Agile, right? But actually, you shouldn't always just go with the flow. Like, oh yeah, everyone is using Agile, so I should be doing as well, right? Really, for us to understand when we should and we shouldn't use Agile is to understand the difference between Agile frameworks and Agile mindset. Agile frameworks are those you might have heard about them, Scrum, Kanban, that have very prescribed steps and features and meetings and tools that you need to adhere to actually implement those frameworks. Now, because they're very specific steps, features, and things you need to know, it may not be applicable to all the projects, or you may not be applied in all organizations. While Agile mindset is something that you actually apply to everything, because it really comes from Agile Manifesto. You can read about it in Google, just write Agile Manifesto, you'll find it. It talks all about collaboration, self-organized teams, sharing information. And who doesn't want to collaborate more, share information, get value like that, right? So to understand a little bit more, we will look into when you should not be using Agile through four angles, which will be company's culture, operating conditions, customer, and what type of project. All of these can influence your project and where you can use Agile and where you should not be using Agile. I'll use some of the red flags I know about, but there are many more those available on my website. Just go to Google, type when you should not be using Agile inside Spotter, and the first one will be my website with additional red flags that I'm not covering in this video. Before we continue, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps me to know that you enjoyed the video, and I should be creating more of these in the future. With that said, let's jump into how the company's culture impact whether you can or cannot use Agile frameworks. The first red flag is where the management or the customer actually is not feeling really confident about the team, that they can deliver, that they can, without much supervision, work together to deliver the solution. And that's a bit of a problem because a lot of Agile frameworks are based on self-organizing teams who will select the tasks, assign to individuals and work through them to deliver the product. If we don't have that sort of business culture where we trust the team and the team is not empowered to do the job, then it's unlikely we're able to use Agile frameworks. The next one is the team members may not be interested in sharing information. You know that in corporate culture, people think that if they keep the information to themselves, they will be empowered, they will not be fired or be promoted because they're the only ones who knows that information, right? That doesn't work in Agile frameworks, right? You want to share information with everyone because you want to learn from mistakes. You want to know as much as possibly need to know about the product or the solution you need to deliver. Otherwise, you may not be addressing certain problems or may not using Agile in the frameworks in the right places of the organization, or even the project might not be actually addressing the right problems. So be careful where you see where people are not willing to share what they know. Sometimes it could be that you cannot use Agile because of the type of the environment the business operates. The business may not have the right resources to actually understand how to use Agile. As I said in the beginning, Agile frameworks have very specific steps and methodologies that you need to apply in order for them to work. It's like a package, you use it all, right? And if you don't have a critical mass of people who understand how that works and they can implement it, it's unlikely they're going to use Agile because it will be quite a different language. They will feel it's something they don't understand and will just defer back to existing traditional project management tools. Sometimes organizations are asking teams to multitask to extreme. You basically handling 10 topics within one day. That would not work in Agile framework because both Scrum and Kanban have very specific features that allow users who use them not to be overburdened with multiple tasks. So for example, Kanban has the whip limit, Scrum has a certain amount of tasks that are pulled in one sprint. In that way, they are actually a little bit more productive because they don't have to keep on changing the context every time they need to deliver a next feature or deliver the next task. Even Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, said that he tries within 1 week to concentrate on one of the businesses. So, for example, in 1 week it could be Facebook, the next week it may be Oculus, right? So we would want to have very similar culture in where we try to apply Agile frameworks. Customers also may not be very suited to use Agile methodology because they may not want to collaborate with you. And it's crucial when using Agile to work with the customer, to understand what he needs, what sort of problems they have. And when you build something, you want to discuss with them if this is exactly what they want, or you need to include additional features, adjust, fine-tune. Without that collaboration, it's almost no chance you could actually implement the framework. And you're just better off going with traditional project management where you set out all the scope and requirements in the beginning of the project. In here, where the customer involved, you may also want to discuss whether you have enough authority and autonomy to make decisions within the team. Teams are self-organized, means that they're not just taking the tasks, but they also make the decisions on which features should be prioritized or what sort of new features maybe need to pull in to address the needs that the client may have. And the client may just don't want the team or the business to have that authority. They may want for every single thing to go back to them and ask for approvals. Maybe you're dealing with the government, and the government obviously has very strict rules and regulations that they need to adhere to in order to fulfill the law, whatever regulation they're working with. So in that case, again, traditional project management might be better for you. Finally, we can talk about what type of project you're dealing with. Because if you have a project which has a very specific objective, or there's a very specific time or budget constraints, then Agile might not work for that, because Scrum and Kanban doesn't really have a finite deadline, which is your time, or a finite budget, or a clear objective at the end, because it will reiterate and will adjust to changing environments. And there are some projects, and one comes to mind is in construction industry. Say you're building a house, right? You build your walls, you build your roof, and after you build your roof, suddenly, oh wait, we need to change the walls, right? To totally different material. Well, in construction industry, it wouldn't work. You can't just take off the roof, keep it on the side, and change the walls, right? In technology industry, it does work, right? You can say you need to change login screens, right? And you can adjust just the login screens and combine again to the full system. So in construction, also you have very specific objectives. You want to build a house. You have a specific time frame usually because you want to sell next year, for example, and you have a very specific budget. If you overrun the budgets, you can't really sell the house for the price it's worth, and there's very strict pricing usually in specific areas. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. There's much more, as I said, on my website. Just write in Google when you should not use Agile. Inside Spotter, you find a few other examples there. I'm sure it'll be very helpful for you. And don't forget to subscribe, like, press the notification bell, check me on LinkedIn, check out my other YouTube videos, and see you in the next video. Bye.